Hey, hello guys. Thanks for joining in. It's another third day, wonderful day. So we're waiting for speakers to join, and myself, Bhupal, and I'll be the moderator for this session. So let's wait people to join. I'll go myself maybe on mute for a little bit time, maybe a couple of minutes. Hey, Kishore. Hey, that's good. That's Alex. Hey, Alex. Hi.
How you doing?
Good. It's Bhupal, and maybe let's give about a couple more minutes people to join in, and then we have about 1 hour, and then 45 minutes will be your speak. So we have a couple of minutes to wait. So people may be busy in the keynote discussion, and they're there still. So let's give them 2 minutes.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
What a wonderful, sessions last 2 days. It was so engaging. Yeah, I think virtual becoming basically like more engaging. We thought it should be, in person to be more engaged, but
Well, it's the world we live in today, right?
Exactly. We are embracing the change.
Yeah. I think that's what people are doing.
Exactly. All right.
So how do I chat with the people in the room?
There is a chat box aside. Do you see? Yeah, that's there.
Yep.
And I think, it's 2 minutes now. I see 25 people, fairly good crowd. I'll just set the context how this another 58 minutes going to be. Hey guys, thanks for joining. I'm sure you would have attended the last 2 days sessions, and it's like an hour, and then first 5 minutes will be like introducing speaker and myself and about topic, and then 45 minutes going to be the talk by the speaker, which is Alex Lowley, and the last 10 minutes is going to be question and answer. So you have any questions, please put it in chat. I'll collect them, and towards end we'll discuss. And then probably mid of the session, polls will be open. Please go ahead and start the poll or vote for the session. So I'm now introducing Mr. Alex Lowley. Hey, thanks for joining. He's from Sydney, and he's an international keynote speaker. And he was really, really, really passionate about 3 things. One is continuous agile learning, being engaged with agile community, and drink lots of beer with his agile friends, both old and new. So Alex wants us to see basically all of us in India whenever he can travel again whenever it's possible. And his topic is nonverbal communication in coaching. So it's going to be really stunning topic, right? So over to you, Alex. Thanks for the talk, and session is all yours.
Thank you.
Myself on mute. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the nice introduction. So I can see there's chat over to the side here. I'm going to test it out. I'm not sure if it's going to go to like the entire conference or just this room. Where do you think it's going to go? You're on mute. You're still on mute.
Session lagging is going to be active for us for our session. Event is a general
Okay. So I do use chat in my presentation. So this is going to be interesting to see how the session lag works, but that's okay. I'm sure we can figure it out. The lag isn't that great, I'm guessing. Probably, I think it's around 8 or 10 seconds or something like that, right?
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see how it goes. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Alex Slowly. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Bhupal. I'm an Agile coach in Sydney, Australia. And I'm very passionate about the community, like Bhupal mentioned. And I'll share my slide deck because I didn't create this session by myself. I actually created it with some other people. Let me share my slide deck.
Mm-hmm. So you have that little, the desktop icon. You click on that, and then.
Okay. Okay. So I originally created this conceptually with 3 other coaches. I do love going to Agile conferences, and I'd love to do it in person before pandemic, before COVID-19, because I would hang out with my friends and we'd drink beer and we would talk about things. And last year at the Agile Coaching Retreat in Berkeley, California, myself, Brock Argue, Mark Summers, and Mauricio Robles, we're all members of the Scrum Alliance Coaching Advisory Team. And we were actually having a beer after the Scrum Coaching Retreat in Berkeley, California. And Brock Argue and Mark Summers are both certified enterprise coaches, and both myself and Mauricio are in the certified enterprise coach certification process. And we were talking about how coaching uses nonverbal communication, and that was the concept of this presentation that I'm now doing today. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit of history here because before pandemic actually happened, I did this presentation at another conference in Australia, but this is what it looked like. That was the original backlog that I used for the actual presentation, because the way I do the presentation is it's a collaborative presentation. We actually decide together how we're going to prioritize the backlog. And in that actual conference presentation, I created a physical sticky note backlog and I put it up on the wall, and we used dot voting, and everybody in the room, which was like 100 people, got together and we dot voted on the stuff. This right here, what you see in front of you is that original backlog that I used to create this workshop. And it's got 22 topics about nonverbal communication. And in that workshop, we prioritized them. But of course, since we're all virtual now, we can't be in the same room and dot note on them with sticky notes. So what I've done is I've converted it into a digital backlog. That's right. Just
make it your screen to the maximum, zoom in, full screen. Then you swap. Yeah, swap. Yep, awesome.
So what that means is now we have to do it digitally. That's the digital backlog. So there's a ton of topics there, and there's no way we're going to get through all those topics in 1 hour. You wouldn't even be able to get through all these topics perhaps in an 8-hour workshop in one day. So what we're going to do is we're going to use something to prioritize this backlog. We're going to use something called Menti. That's right. If you're not familiar with Menti.com or Mentimeter, it's a great way for you to incorporate different engagement in your presentations. So we're going to use that today. Now, this is going to be an interesting presentation because I'm not going to do all the work here today, because what this presentation actually is, it's not a talk. What it is it's a competition. That's right. We're actually going to compete. This is a competition. This is the rules of the competition. So because this is a presentation about nonverbal communication, the only way you can submit your answers is through chat. So when I ask you a question, you have to submit your answers through chat. Short text answers are really good. I mean, obviously you can use long text answers in chat if you really want to, but with short text answers, you'll get them to me quicker. Now, if you provide links to web references, to websites or blogs or books on Amazon, those earn bonus points. So I encourage you to use that kind of stuff too. Now, the way this competition works is that the people with the most and best contributions win at the end of this presentation. All right, so let's get started. That's the slide deck. There's not a lot of slides, right? So let us see what the Menti says. Okay. This is Menti.com. I hope you can do this on your mobile device. You can do it on your laptop, whatever you want. And here we go. We'll start voting on your topics now. You will see it pop up in a sec. Okay, using that website and that code at the top, go to this website, menti.com, and enter code 712102. You can vote on these topics. Now, I'm not going to really describe them in too much detail, but the topics are nonverbal cues, the cues that you would use that aren't verbal in a conversation or coaching conversation. Problem participant intervention, where you use nonverbal intervention to deal with problem people. The communication pyramid, what that is and what that means. Auditory tools, tools you can use that are auditory and not verbal. Physical room anchoring, how you occupy a room. That also includes digital rooms. Meeting cards, both physical and virtual meeting cards. Active listening, what that is. Human emojis, how we can use that in meetings to express non-verbally. Vertical authority, how you can maintain authority in the vertical positioning of a room. Mirroring, how you can mirror people. The jukebox technique in trainings, which is how to engage people during your sessions. And then visual facilitation. So go ahead and I'll give you like 30 seconds to a minute to vote for these things. You get 3 votes each. Just start voting. Excellent. We'll just wait a few more seconds to see if there are any more votes coming. Ah, here we go. A little more voting. Keep on voting. Let's see if any more votes. We have any more votes. Few more. That's cool. I like how the dots kind of stream to the topics. That's kind of neat. I'll give you another 30 seconds. Cool. Well, let's stop the voting and see what it actually looks like. Okay. With a clear winner, we have active listening with 21%. We've got nonverbal cues at 20%, followed by the communication pyramid at 12%, visual facilitation at 10%, meeting cards at 9%, mirroring at 7%. So we'll consider those our top issues for right now, and we'll see where that takes us. So let's start the competition. Our first topic is active listening. So let's talk about active listening. Now, I know we have some very experienced coaches in the audience today who probably know what active listening is. So I'm expecting some great answers from you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 60 seconds to go out on the internet and either find out what active listening is and put the answer in chat, or if you know the answer, put it in chat. Go ahead. You got 60 seconds, and I'm timing it. Tell us what active listening is. Put it into the chat. Remember, links to stuff, like links to references, get bonus points. Oh, I see results coming in. Oh, we got lots of great results. We got about another, according to my timer, about another 45 seconds. That's good. That's good. We got about another 30 seconds. Keep going. You got about another 15 seconds to put your answer into chat. Ten seconds according to my timer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Man, we have got some awesome answers out there. I can't even count how many answers you guys have put into chat. There's just so many answers. And some really good ones, too. Really, really good ones. So let's look at them all. We've got 90 to 95% listening, 5 to 10% talking. We've got links to the balanced careers, paying attention to the conversation, listening with empathy and concentrating on the conversation. Using verbal affirmations and nonverbal cues. We've got listening to what is not said. Pardon me 1 second. Oh, that was my Roomba going off. I had to turn that off. All right. What else have we got in here? Able to hear the other person, but understanding the person's meaning. Listening without interrupting. Be there mentally. Process by which you secure information from individual or group. Listening and not replying. You can develop it with practice. I think that's an interesting statement. To listen without thinking of a response. That's great. Listening without any prejudice. An intent behind words. Those are some excellent answers. I think we're going to have some big winners in this competition. Let's talk about the little I know about active listening. I first learned about active listening a long time ago from Michael Spade and Lisa Atkins. And if you Google it, you can find all sorts of cool references to active listening, like different levels of active listening. The way I learned it originally was that there were 3 levels of active listening. Essentially, the first level of active listening was the level where you listen to somebody, but inside your head, you're just really thinking about what your response is going to be. It's like they're talking to you and you're in the situation and you're relating the situation to situations you've encountered yourself, and you're responding with your response, or you're thinking about your response. If you think about the coaching stance in terms of active listening, it would kind of be like you were in the mentoring stance, or perhaps the teaching stance, and that you're kind of listening to what the person says and then you're responding with an answer is essentially what it comes down to. Now, the second level of active listening, the way I learned it, was that you were listening to the person intently, and that was all you were doing. You weren't thinking about yourself. So as the person talked, you focused on what they said. You actually made eye contact, and you sat in a neutral stance, and you paid attention, and you gave affirmations like, I see, yes, right. And you listened to what they actually said, and you didn't think in your head, I know what the answer is. You're just absorbing what they're saying. So yeah, definitely there's a degree of no judgment involved, where you're not thinking of the answer or the right thing for them to do. And then finally, there was the third level of listening, which was awareness of the ecosystem around you. You could think of it as you're in a team meeting and you're an agile coach and you're just sitting in the back of the room in the corner, absorbing the conversation. You can close your eyes and you can feel where the conversations are going, who's talking, who's not talking, what's being said, what's not being said, how they're saying it. It's kind of like a global feel for the conversation, and you're just passively absorbing it. Those were the 3 levels of active listening that I learned when I originally learned about this process many, many years ago. Now, I think, I can't remember who said it in chat, but perhaps the most important thing, well, one of the important things that was said in chat was that you get better at it with practicing. So I think that's key. So if you've ever heard of coaching circles, or the reason you have coaches or you coach other people to practice that skill, it's because you get better at it. You actually get better at being patient. You get better at listening without making judgments. You get better at listening with being objective versus subjective. And when you're in that mode, you can more fully absorb what that person's saying. So try it. The next time you go out to beers with your buddies at the local pub or bar, you're probably going to have a conversation in mode 1 or level 1, where you're just responding back and forth, having a good time. You're not really paying attention, right? You're probably in level 1 with your friends drinking beer at a bar. But next time you're coaching somebody in a one-on-one coaching session, whether it's a scrum master or someone on your team or another coach, make sure you're in level 2. Be thinking, I'm just going to listen to what they say. I'm going to absorb what they say. I'm going to do these little affirmations like this, so they know I'm actively listening, right? And I'm just going to absorb it. And then the next time you're in a team meeting, sit in the back of the room. Sit in the corner, close your eyes, and absorb everything around you, what you hear. Now, you can do this in a distributed world too, right? Like if you're in a session like today, and if it was just me and Bhupal, for example, having a one-on-one coaching session, we can replicate that level 1, level 2 quite easily. And in fact, when you're in a team Zoom meeting or whatever you're using, WebEx or whatever it is, you can sit down, close your eyes, and absorb who's talking or not talking in your meetings. So this is directly relatable and applicable and relevant to virtual meetings as well as physical meetings. Now, that's active listening. It's nothing fancier than that. I guess the best thing I can tell you is go check it out, go Google it. You'll find that a lot of people say there's 3 levels, but you'll find different people saying there's different levels, 4 or 5 different levels. but really it's just about practicing listening, and I encourage you to go out and practice. Now, the way I'm going to do questions is I'm just going to open it up to questions now, but because this is a presentation on nonverbal communication, you have to ask me your questions in chat. So give me your questions in chat right now. Give you 10 seconds to write your questions in chat about active listening. Oh, the question is, how does it help? Oh, tips to improve. How does it help and tips to improve? How to control the wavering of thoughts. Yeah, okay, great. The way it helps is it helps you focus on what the person's saying rather than what you yourself are thinking about it. So as a coach in the coaching stance, you have different stances. Mentoring and teaching, that's where you're basically telling the person how to solve their problem. While coaching and more, somewhat facilitation, you're helping them figure out their own problem. So that's why you want to be using level 2 or 3 when you're in the coaching or facilitation stance, because you're not trying to impose your own thoughts on getting them to their solution. In terms of improving, the best way to do it is to actually first be aware that there are different levels, and then to start practicing it. The easiest way to practice it is for some period of time, a long period of time. Whenever you're talking to somebody, be continually asking yourself, what level of listening am I at right now? And try to start identifying what level you're at when you're currently engaging with that person. And then the next step is to consciously change your level of listening. So if you're talking to somebody and you're having a level 1 conversation, consciously switch it to a level 2 and do it with purpose, and then you'll see what happens in the conversation. And then we got one more question. What about people who always talk too much, don't come to a point? So definitely be thinking about how you can use your nonverbal cues to perhaps get them to come to the point. Or think about when you come to those natural pauses in conversations, rather than making a judgment or a comment or a solution, how do you ask the powerful questions that get them to redirect to where you want them to go? And yeah, someone said be intentional about active listening, and it does improve with time. All right, there's your questions. Great. Excellent. Let's move on to the next topic because we have a limited amount of time tonight. The next topic is nonverbal cues. So nonverbal cues. Once again, it's a competition. I'm going to give you 60 seconds to tell me what nonverbal cues are. You can tell me what they are. You can give me examples. You can put links to websites. You have 60 seconds to put nonverbal cues, the answer, in chat. Go. Someone said yawning or getting bored. That's good. That's good. Body movements, body orientation, nuances of the face, right? Postures and gestures, yeah. Body movements, body orientation, yeah. Gestures, facial orientation, expression, yeah. Expressing yourself, responding to your questions, body language. It's a very common one, body language. Eye contact, that's a good one. That's a good one. Strong handshake. That's really good. Oh, we got a link. Speaking tips, the importance of nonverbal communication. We've got about 30 seconds left. You better get your answers in. Leaning forward. That's a great one. Emotions. Okay. Keep going. You got about 20 seconds left according to the clock. Ooh, details of dress. I don't think I saw that one earlier. You got about 10 seconds to get your answers in, and links too. 10 seconds. Oh, we got a Wikipedia, the best reference on the web. I love Wikipedia. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Nonverbal communication. Let's talk about nonverbal communication. I've been consciously using nonverbal communication during this presentation. I actually zoomed out on the webcam specifically so you could see more of my body language, as someone called it. So let me show you what I mean. So let me minimize this Chrome window, and I'll show you something else. That's my webcam control. I actually keep a webcam control open on my other desktop when I'm doing presentations at conferences or meetups, or when I'm actually having meetings with my clients. And I actually control how my webcam zooms in on me. So right now, I've actually got it zoomed out to the maximum. I've bought a widescreen webcam specifically so when I was sitting down, people could see my nonverbal cues. They could see my hand movements. They could see my upper torso. And sometimes in meetings or presentations, I'll stand up or do them standing up specifically because I want to communicate my nonverbal cues. Now, the reason I have this open now is because I want to show you a comparison of how it might look different if I change my webcam view. So that's a super zoomed in mode for me now. Now you get to see every detail and feature of my beautiful face, which is great for certain things. Like when you're looking for nonverbal facial cues, this zoomed in kind of mode works really well. Now, there are two features on the human face that are the most expressive in terms of emotion and nonverbal communication. And I'm using them right now. The first ones are your eyebrows, right? And then the second ones are your lips. See, you can smile. You can bring up your eyebrows. You can scowl and do that. Those are the two most expressive nonverbal things on your face, your eyebrows and your lips. And in fact, when you learn about visual facilitation, one of the things that you learn in visual facilitation, or otherwise known as sketching, you can express all the human emotions just by using the eyebrows and the mouth on the human face. And if you've ever done professional speaker training, one of the things that you learn is that men with beards, you can't really, it hides the lips, so you get less expressive emotion or less nonverbal, you get less nonverbal cues from the mouth with facial hair. So one of the things I learned was that you have to exaggerate your facial cues with your mouth because your hair hides it, which is really interesting. Now let's get back to the other view. This is the view I'm using with you today. It's so you can see my hands, you can see my posture. Just like a real conversation, someone earlier said lean in, right? I still lean in on my virtual conversations. You can lean in like that. You can still do all these nonverbal cues just like you used to do before. Leaning in. Oh, right? Raised eyebrows, smile. Nodding, affirmation. When you're listening, getting back to that active listening, lean in. Nod. You know, yeah, right. All these affirmational cues. they still have impact in the virtual world, not just the physical world, right? Be aware of what you're doing. That's a nonverbal cue. What am I telling you here? Someone in chat, tell me what I'm doing. Someone in chat, tell me what. Yeah. Or I'm just really cold. But yeah. Or like, what am I doing now? What am I telling you now? Now, I was fascinated. Someone brought this up earlier. They actually put this in chat. What am I doing now? Yeah, all these nonverbal cues come into play. So be aware of your mouth. Be aware of your eyebrows. Be aware of your vertical position in your webcam or your seat. Like, are you slumped down? Are you sitting up straight? Be aware of your proximity to the person in terms of leaning back and leaning forward. Be aware of your arms being closed or open. Be aware of how you're sitting. Everything your parents told you about having a good posture applies to your coaching conversations as well. So there you go. That's essentially what nonverbal cues come down to. It's how you look. So, any questions? Please ask me your questions. You've got 30 seconds to write your questions in chat.
Hey, I think Vivek is asking, sometimes people look tired and how to interpret those postures. I think that was one question.
Yeah. We've got some other questions in there. How to know how to fake nonverbal cues, how to improve, looking tired and how to interpret those postures, aggressive body language, how to make abusive non-listening CEO listen, use active listening. Yeah. Once again, similar to active listening, the first thing you need to do is just be aware. Once you start to understand that their active listening exists, that nonverbal cues exist, you can start being aware. Start paying attention to what you're doing as you're doing it. I'm actually paying attention to my hands right now, so I know I'm using big, large gestures on purpose. So I'm actually paying attention as I speak, how I'm verbally and non-verbally communicating with you. So that first level is awareness. The second level is you can start using it consciously. So use it with purpose. Like if you want to communicate something specifically using nonverbal communication, think about the gesture you would use to communicate that particular thing and then use it and see what happens. So ask yourself, if I smile right now, if I use a large gesture, what's going to happen? And start to try it out in conversations and webcam things, like virtual settings. What's going to happen if I start doing it? Now, of course, you can start to interpret the nonverbal cues of other people as well. If you see people doing that, you can ask yourself, perhaps they're feeling a little, they're not confident today, or they're feeling a little insecure, or if they look physically tired and they're drooped over. These are good cues for you as a coach to perhaps direct conversations to those particular areas that might help your coachees. Now, there are aggressive gestures, right? One of the things you learn when you start doing professional presentation, and I've already done this a couple of times in the presentation, is that you're not supposed to point. In some gestures, that's considered quite rude. So you're supposed to point with like your thumb like that, or you can point with like your whole hand like that. So not only do you need to understand your own aggressive physical gestures, which you might need to modify like this, but then you can start to interpret when other people are using aggressive gestures or aggressive nonverbal cues. So perhaps they might be using aggressive nonverbal cues, but they're not speaking aggressively, in which case you as a coach can use those aggressive nonverbal cues to have a conversation and maybe dig into the reasons why. All right. Well, that was a good topic. Let's move on to the next one. I'm just going to fire up our prioritized list. Okay, the next topic. Oh, the communication pyramid. I'm interested in this one. The communication pyramid. Somebody tell me what the communication pyramid is. And you've got 60 seconds to tell me what it is. Go ahead, put your answers in the chat. What's the communication pyramid? A quick verbal answer, a quick written answer, sorry, or a link to a website, whatever you want to do, start putting them into chat. What's the communication pyramid? Oh, we're down to 50 seconds. Oh, speech and language therapist. That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, someone's got a Google search there. I'm gonna, yeah. Oh, we've got another one. Parent tips, the communication pyramid. Minto pyramid principle. These are some good things. We got about 30 seconds. Put in your answers. It shows how communication develops. Okay. We got about 20 seconds. About 10 seconds. Five seconds. Put in your answers. The communication pyramid. Okay, time's up. Okay. Excellent. We've got some great answers there. So I saw a lot about speech therapy and developing communication. There's some interesting links there. I see stuff from Tools Hero, Minto Pyramid, following the pyramid principle. That's great. Okay. We've got parent tips. We got a Google search on the communication pyramid. Let me show you the communication pyramid. Just give me a second and I'll show you what the communication pyramid looks like. Okay. I'm just opening a file to show you. Okay. Okay. The file's opening in PowerPoint. Okay. Here we go. There it is. The ancient pyramids of Albert Moravian. It's the communication pyramid or the communications model. I'm fascinated by all those pyramid models you folks found over there. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to copy all this chat stuff because these references are awesome. But this is typically when we talk about the communications pyramid or the communications model. This is what we're talking about usually when it comes to nonverbal cues. You'll probably find it's directly related to the development of communication in children or speech therapists like you folks were talking about. But what the original model said originally was that at the top of the pyramid, which is the narrowest point, that it represented the 7% of the communication pipeline that people used to communicate back and forth, which was approximately 7% verbal. And then the middle of the pyramid was 38% vocal. And then the base of the pyramid, which is the largest portion of the pyramid, was actually 55% visual. Now, you do have to read about this model and understand the nuances about the model. It doesn't literally mean that when you're talking to somebody like me or your friend, that 7% is verbal, 38% is vocal, and 55% is visual. It's not like your communication pipeline is 100% and you're just slicing it up. Yeah, Bupon.
Full screen again, please. Participants are asking. Thank you.
There you go. So it's not like it's like only 7% of your communication is just verbal, 38% is vocal, and 55% is visual. It's that when you're having a communication, it's kind of all mixed up together, and it just kind of flows back and forth between these different categories. The better way to think about the Moravian pyramid is that when you're having a conversation with somebody, like we're having a conversation right now, or it's kind of one-sided, but most of what you're getting from me right now is 55% visual. That's because I have my webcam on, right? 38% of it is vocal. So it's not the words I'm saying, it's how I'm saying the words. It's like my tone, my inflection. Am I saying them slowly or rapidly, excitedly or sadly? So vocal is like how your voice sounds. And then verbal actually refers to like the actual words you're using. So think about it. The language, human language, depending on your language, can be very precise or very imprecise. Some languages have millions of words, right? So only 7% of your communication pipeline is actually determined by those millions and millions of words. So when you're thinking about your meetings, your conversations as a coach in this new virtual world, that's why it's so important that you have webcams on. Because if you're relying solely on words and how your words sound, you're not even getting close to the communication pipeline. You're not even getting to half of what you can communicate. Over half is what I'm actually doing right now, which is my face and the gesturing and how I'm acting and stuff like that. And that's why it's so important. Webcam on. That's Moravian's pyramid. It is like theoretical research. It's like scientific stuff. He was a scientist. I'm not a scientist. I'm a natural coach, right? But he actually did a lot of studies on this. You can go read about it. There's scientific studies. But the things to take away here are that a lot of your communication is visual. And the next most important is how you talk and not what you actually say with words. All right. Any questions? I'm going to give you 30 seconds for questions. Go, put them into chat. 30 seconds. Moving on. Next topic. All right. Our next topic with, well, it looks like 9% of the vote is visual facilitation.
Hey,
Okay.
Alex, we have another 10 minutes. So I know, people have been asking questions, so we might not have maybe a lot of questions, but yeah, 10 more minutes for the session.
Got it. Which means I'm not going to give you 10 more minutes. I'm going to give you like 3 minutes. So you can ask me questions at the end.
Thank
All
you.
right. You've got like 60 seconds to tell me what visual facilitation is and give me some links. Go in chat. What's visual facilitation? And give me some links. 60 seconds, people. Put it into chat. What's visual facilitation? Go Google it real quick. Tell me what you think it is. Put it into chat. Oh, yeah, some great answers here. UX Studio team drawing, complex data in easily understandable format, graphical visualization. Lots of super awesome examples. We got about 20 seconds left. Kanban board. Drawing. Keep going, keep going. Beak a blow. Woo! Yeah, 20 seconds. What's visual facilitation? Ten seconds. MS Excel, right. It could be, I suppose. Clear out the clutter and noise, make sure everybody's reverse Jamboard. Yeah, okay, cool. Keep going, mind mapping. And the Wikipedia page, yes. 5 seconds. 5 seconds for your answers. 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Time's up. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I guess I'll tell you what my experience with visual facilitation is. I think we've got a lot of people in chat over here who have a lot of experience too. Visual facilitation is when you facilitate a conversation using visual aids. Yeah, it could be a Kanban board. It could be mind mapping, but you're using something visual to support what you're talking about. Go back to Morabian's communication pyramid, right? 55% of the communication pathway is visual. You can actually replace your entire conversation with visuals if you really want to. I'll show you some visual facilitation things that I have just laying around my desk. I have visual facilitation cards. These are cards that I've created. I can use in meetings. They're virtual meeting cards. I can use for applause. I can use for laughter. When I want to give someone a hug. When I want to say I love their idea, or I can't hear you, or there's noise on the line. I actually sketched out these visual facilitation cards, and I have a whole stack of them here. And I can use them in meetings without saying a word. I just hold them up to the camera. And other visual facilitation tools, I'll show you something cool back here. Ignore that. That's my lean beer poster. I actually have that at the physical lean beers that when we used to have them in Sydney. I had that done by a professional Beak-a-Blow virtual visual facilitator. Oh, here. I'll stop sharing. I had that done by a virtual Beak-a-Blow facilitator. That's actually a virtual visual facilitation tool. Someone mentioned Bicablo. That's a very classic way of doing visual facilitation. But so think about how can you sketch things in your meetings, still have whiteboards. I've got a whiteboard right over there that I still use in my meetings. And I put the whiteboard over here and I sketch stuff out while people are talking in my actual meetings. So that's visual facilitation. I encourage you to go look up Bicablo. And I think we're getting close to the time. So how much time do we have, Bhupal?
10 more minutes.
Okay. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to ask me questions. Go ahead. Ask your questions in chat. Go.
All right. One question, which was, I think, you answered or rather acknowledged most of the questions. But one question was, any idea for a common icebreaker that would work with people with different seniority level?
In terms of nonverbal icebreaker? Yeah, nonverbal icebreakers.
Icebreakers, okay.
Yeah, so nonverbal virtual icebreakers. One of the funnest things you can do is have people create their own virtual meeting cards. So the way you do it is you start a meeting and you say, okay, team, I want you to think about, you know, a common problem in virtual meetings. Like you're on mute, right? And you want to be able to tell someone they're on mute. Well, I want you to get a sticky notepad now, and I want you to draw that someone is on mute. And then you go around the room and everybody shows their pictures. And in the meeting or other meetings, they can actually show the cards that they've created. And you can actually have teams of people create their own virtual custom facilitation cards. I did this at a portfolio meeting with senior level executives like CEOs and stuff like that. And in the portfolio meeting, when we talk about portfolio topics, I have a value card, I've got a limit work card, I've got a reflect card, I've got an evolve card, and I can actually show nonverbal cues as we talk about our portfolio management in our portfolio meeting. You can use little things like this, and you can actually make creating the cards fun. That's a great activity to break the ice, is to make your own set of cards. It's really, really cool.
Awesome.
All right. Any other questions? I think we got like just a couple of minutes, right?
Exactly. Guys, any questions? Last question, maybe. Last one.
One.
Yeah.
Any book you advise? I think any Bicablo book will really get you in the mood for doing visual facilitation. Visual facilitation right now is very strong. It will also help you if you're getting into Miro or Mural or Canvas and stuff like that. Anything that's visual and get you start to thinking creatively. Now, there is one final piece of business that I need to share with you, and then we'll wrap it up. I'm going to share something, and then we'll end the session. All right, this is a competition, and I want to announce the winners. I've been keeping track of all the answers and all the people who have been answering, okay? So I want to tell you who the winners are. The winners are all of you. That's right, you all win.
Thank you. That's great. All right, thanks, Alex. It was really, really insightful session. It was really hands-on. And though it was non-verbal, but you made it people to talk and, you know, type in and, you know, vote, whatnot, okay? I think you've used all of that. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It was a
Thanks,
wonderful.
everyone.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for joining in.
Thanks, Paul.
The rest of the conference.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye, Alex.
Bye.